Now, I know I haven't done too much Mouse and His Child lately, but I have to say I'm really hooked on these little books of poetry, not to mention it's wonderful to read, but it's really late. So now, without further ado, The Three Foxes. Once upon a time, there were three little foxes who didn't wear stockings, and they didn't wear sockses. But they all had handkerchiefs to blow their noses, and they kept their handkerchiefs in cardboard boxes. They lived in the forest in three little houses, and they didn't wear coats because they didn't wear trousies. They ran through the woods on their little bird tootsies and played touch last with a family of mousies. They didn't go shopping in high street shopses, but they caught what they wanted in woods and copses. They all went fishing, and they caught three wormses, and they all went hunting, and they caught three wopses. They all went to the fair, and they all won prizes, 3 plum puddingsies, and 3 mint pieses. They rode on elephants and swang on swingsies. They hit 3 coconuts at coconut shiesies. That's all I know of these 3 little foxes who kept their handkerchiefs in cardboard boxes, but they lived in the forest in 3 little houses, and they didn't wear coats, and they didn't wear trousers, and they didn't wear stockings, and they didn't wear sockses. Politeness. If people ask me, I always tell them, "Quite well, thank you, I'm very glad to say." If people ask me, I always answer, "Quite well, thank you, how are you today?" I always answer and I always tell them, and they always ask me politely, but sometimes I wish that they didn't. Jonathan Joe. Jonathan Joe has a mouth like an O, and a wheelbarrow full of surprises. If you ask for a bat, or something like that, he has got it, whatever the size is. If you're wanting a ball, no trouble at all, or the more that you ask for the merrier, like a hoop or a top, and a watch that won't stop, and some sweets and an Aberdeen terrier. Jonathan Joe has a mouth like an O. This is what makes him so funny. If you give him a smile, only once in a while, then he never expects any money. At the zoo. There are lions and roaring tigers and enormous camels and things. There are buffalo bisons and a great big bear with wings. There's a sort of tiny hippopotamus and tiny rhinoceros too, but I gave buns to the elephant and when I went down to the zoo. There are badgers and burgers and bodgers and the superintendent's house. There are masses of goats and a polar and different kinds of mouse. And I think there's a sort of something which was called a wallaboo, but I gave buns to the elephant when I went down to the zoo. If you try to talk to the bison, he never quite understands. He can't shake hands with the bingo. He doesn't have shaking hands. And lions and roaring tigers hate saying how do you do, but I gave buns to the elephant when I go down to the zoo. And you need to see this picture of a bluffer sticking his tongue out. Blah. Rice pudding. What is the matter with Mary Jane? She's crying with all her might and main. She won't eat her dinner, rice pudding again. What is the matter with Mary Jane? What is the matter with Mary Jane? I promised her dolls and a daisy chain. No book about animals, all in vain. What is the matter with Mary Jane? What is the matter with Mary Jane? She's perfectly well, she hasn't a pain. But look at her now, she's beginning again. What is the matter with Mary Jane? What is the matter with Mary Jane? I've promised her sweets and a ride in a train. And I begged her to stop for a bit and explain. What is the matter with Mary Jane? What is the matter with Mary Jane? She's perfectly well and hasn't a pain. And it's lovely rice pudding for dinner again. What is the matter with Mary Jane? Missing. Has anyone seen my mouse? I opened a box for half a minute, just to make sure he was really in it. And while I was looking, he jumped outside. I tried to catch him. I tried. I think he's somewhere about the house. Has anyone seen my mouse? Uncle John, have you seen my mouse? Just a small sort of mouse, a dear little brown one. He came from the country and wasn't a town one, so he'll feel all lonely in a London street. Why, what could he possibly find to eat? He must be somewhere. I'll ask Aunt Rose, have you seen a mouse with a waffly nose? Or somewhere about he just got out. Hasn't anybody seen my mouse? The King's Breakfast. The King asked the Queen, and the Queen asked the dairymaid, could we have some butter for the royal slice of bread? The Queen asked the dairymaid said, certainly, I'll go tell the cow now, before she goes to bed. The dairymaid she curtsies, and went and told the Alderney, which is a kind of cow from the Alderney, island of Alderley, which is a constituent member of Guernsey, the Bailiwick of Guernsey. Don't forget the butter and for the royal slice of bread. The Alderney said she'd sleepily. You'd better tell His Majesty that many people nowadays like Mamma did instead. The dairymaid said, fancy, and went to Her Majesty. She curtsied to the Queen, and she turned a little red. Excuse me, Your Majesty, for taking the liberty, but marmalade is tasty if it's very thickly spread. The Queen said, oh, and went to His Majesty, talking of the butter the royal slice of bread. Many people think that marmalade is nicer. Would you like to try a little marmalade instead? The king said, bother, and then he said, oh dear me. The king sobbed, oh dearie me, and went back to bed. Nobody, he whimpered, could call me a fussy man. I only want a little bit of butter for my bread. The queen said, they're there, and went to the dairymaid. The dairymaid said, they're there, and went to the shed. The cow said, they're there. I didn't really mean it. Here's milk for his porringer, and butter for his bread. The queen took the butter and brought it to his majesty. The king said, butter, eh? And bounced out of bed. Nobody, he said, as he kissed her tenderly. Nobody, he said, as he stood at the banisters. Nobody, my darling, could call me a fussy man, but I do like a little bit of butter to my bread. Hoppity. Christopher Robin goes hoppity hoppity, hoppity hoppity hop. Whenever I tell him politely to stop it, he says he can't possibly stop. If he stopped hopping, he couldn't go anywhere. Poor little Christopher couldn't go anywhere. That's why he's always goes hoppity 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 hop. At home. I want a soldier in Busby. I want a soldier to come and play with me. I'd give him cream cakes, big ones, sugar ones, and I'd give him cream cakes for cream for his tea. I want a soldier, a tall one, a red one. I want a soldier who plays on the drum. Daddy's going to get me one. He's written to the shopman. Daddy's going to get one as soon as he can come. I love how these just fly by. They're so much fun to read. The wrong house. I went into a house and it wasn't a house. It had big steps and a great big hall, but it wasn't had a garden. It isn't like a house at all. I went into the house and it wasn't a house. It had a great big garden and a great high wall. It hasn't got a may tree. It isn't like a house at all. I went into a house and it wasn't a house. Slow white petals from the may tree fall, but it hasn't got a blackbird. It isn't like a house at all. I went into a house and I thought it was a house. I could hear from the may tree and the blackbird call, but nobody listened to it, nobody liked it, nobody wanted it at all. Sometimes I feel like these are very open-ended. Ah yes, this song again. Summer afternoon. 6 brown cows walk down into the drink. All the little fishes blew bubbles at the mayfly. Splash goes the first as he comes to the brink. Swish go the tails of the 5 who follow. 12 brown cows come drinking there. All the little fishes wait, waggle, wag a tail. 6 from the water and 6 from the air. Up and down the river darts a blue black swallow. And tomorrow, or soon, possibly tomorrow, we'll do the Doctor and the Dormouse. The Dormouse and the Doctor. But, Christy, thank you for the wonderful afternoon chat today. I think we really needed it. I think it went very well. I love you dearly. I'm so happy we're together, and I will be home incredibly soon. We're near the 40-day mark, and after that point, it's just going to go sailing by. That's just 2 20s. I mean, you can do a 20 standing on our head. But in the meantime, you've got your cycling this weekend, so kick butt, cycle hard. I know you'll have a great time. You always do, and you'll have wonderful, great stories to talk about it. Do not worry about Adam Reddy. I'm not the least bit concerned, and I trust you wholeheartedly. And the thing is, I don't think I need to worry. I trust you, but I don't even think that matters right now. Because I love you dearly, and you don't sound like you're... I don't even want to talk about it. I love you dearly, and I think you'll have a nice weekend, and say hello to him from me. I love you dearly, Christy. Sleep well, keep calm, find a llama, carry on, and I'll talk to you very soon. I'll be home soon, Christy. I love you. Good night.